Execution excellence, a method of continuous improvement that focuses on improving the execution of all organizational change processes. Execution excellence involves a framework of systems and practices that improve effectiveness, efficiency, and quality to achieve business goals. Hi, I'm Gail Sturgis of Talent Align. Why is this important today? Here are some alarming statistics. These are just some of the really disturbing statistics that come from the area of strategy and change executions in organizations. There is clearly a breakdown in most organizations between crafting a plan and executing it. Considering the amount of money spent on strategy and change and the decades of research in this field, this apparently slim chance of success should be concerning. Ray Kurzweil is an American computer scientist, author, inventor, and futurist. He has an illustrious career of looking at the rate of change of different technologies and the impact on society. You'll find him easily on Google. In 2003, he wrote, "We're entering an age of acceleration. The models underlying society at every level, which are largely based on a linear model of change, are going to have to be redefined. Because of the explosive power of exponential growth, the 21st century will be the equivalent to 20,000 years of progress at today's rate of change. Organizations have to be able to redefine themselves at a faster and faster pace." And I'm pretty sure that we're all starting to feel this right now. But what it means is, if we get our predictions wrong now, it is likely that we will be very far off course very quickly. Change is impacting businesses from a variety of directions and sources. The market is changing fairly dramatically. Automation and digitalization is still just the tip of the technology change iceberg. Structural changes brought about by movement in the marketplace, remedial changes from trying to catch up and fix things, and of course the unplanned changes like the pandemic, climate change, recession, etc. And the little voice from the side asks, how is ChatGPT changing the way you work right now? This was change in the past. It could take different directions, but it was still linear. But, as Ray Kurzweil has told us, change has changed. Change today is more like this, where different changes can impact different parts of the organization differently. We call it kaleidoscopic change. Change is no longer a single event to map out and go through, in spite of all the popular models that lead us to think that way. In most organizations today, change is complex, continuous, transformational, simultaneous, interrelated, and unpredictable. This kind of change is defined as a series of overlapping, never-ending, planned and unplanned changes that are interdependent, difficult to execute, and either can't or shouldn't be ignored. The stakes are high. What is it to be? Relying on the status quo or developing the ability to redefine the business at a faster and faster pace? The challenges facing businesses today are, how do we survive these changes and how do we make ourselves sustainable into the future in the face of accelerating changes from multiple directions? In times of accelerating change, these are the 5 critical activities that organizations need to do. They need to shorten the decision time frame, take smaller decisions more often, focus on what matters, take a holistic view, and facilitate, don't manage. Things are happening all the time that impact the operation of the organization. We need to be ready to take decisions as changes occur, internal or external. When we shorten the decision timeframes, we are better prepared to take appropriate action when these changes occur. Making smaller decisions more often enables the organization and change projects to be flexible and adaptable when changes happen. This ends up with a better result at the end of the day. Not everything that happens has a significant impact on the organization. It is critical to focus on what really matters, what has significant impact on the goals of the organization, and what you're able to influence. Change in the past has tended to be concentrated to an area of the business. With complex, continuous, transformational, interrelated, and unpredictable change, we need to take a much more holistic view and how it impacts the different parts of the organization. Digitalization is a case in point. Too many digitalization projects fail to take future skills requirements into account. As a result, they are stalled. It is not possible to manage a situation where change is complex, continuous, and unpredictable. There are just far too many variables to take into account. We need to have a much more facilitative approach to help everyone to work together better, understand their common objectives, and plan how to achieve those objectives on a continuous basis. The framework that enables all of this is the OKR Framework, which is becoming an increasingly popular leadership tool to help organizations set, communicate, and track their goals. The OKR framework has 3 parts: cycles or cadences, which are generally annual, quarterly, monthly, and weekly. The OKRs themselves, which consist of objectives or the impacts we want to achieve, key results or outcomes, initiatives and retrospectives, and the CFRs, which are the conversations, feedback, and recognition that enables continuous improvement. And then there are the superpowers of the OKR framework, which are focus on what matters and results, alignment across the organization, commitment to priorities and results, measurement and accountability. Remember what Peter Drucker said, what gets measured gets managed. Stretching, but not overreaching. Holistic. It is the only framework that encompasses both cultural and operational capabilities. These together are why the OKR framework has become the most popular goal setting and execution framework used today. The question asked by most people considering the OKR framework is, we use KPIs, why do we need something different? The OKR framework is not an alternative to KPIs, but a support mechanism to ensure goals are achieved. We use KPIs to manage, but we use OKRs to lead. These are the main differences between KPIs and OKRs. KPIs measure performance or status quo, whereas OKRs focus on driving change. KPIs are a single operational metric, whereas OKR is a framework that measures progress towards goals. KPIs tell you if you're on track, but OKRs tell you where and how to improve. KPIs measure performance. OKRs provide insight to improve. KPIs are about setting a future target. OKRs are about driving growth and change. KPIs focus on meeting targets. OKRs focus on outcomes that measure progress towards an objective. KPIs are generally set annually. OKRs are set quarterly, shortening decision timeframes and enabling smaller decisions more often. KPIs are a single, simple lag metric. OKRs need data and sometimes complex, multiple lead and lag metrics. KPIs do not measure growth or change. OKRs focus on what matters to drive growth and change. KPIs are generally set top-down, whereas OKRs are set top-down and bottom-up. It's not either KPIs or OKRs, it's both. We need KPIs to measure performance, and we need OKRs to focus on results that drive growth or change. KPIs and OKRs work side by side in most organizations. The most important benefit of this is the direct alignment between vision, goals, and impact. A goal is management's best estimate of achieving the vision. Managing and measuring impact has a far greater probability of achieving the vision. Whenever faced with the choice of moving to something new, the question is always, but who else is using it? Well, these are some of the well-known organizations that have and are using OKRs to achieve organizational goals and grow their organizations. You'll notice that, yes, there are many IT organizations, but certainly not only IT organizations. And yes, many are the startups that became unicorns. Nothing wrong with that. But also some older, established organizations. There's no typical organization that can benefit from the OKR framework, but there are areas within organizations where the OKR framework does not add much value. But strategy change and project execution are not those areas. The OKR framework is popular and a simple concept, but it is not simple to implement. The OKR framework is data-driven, and most organizations don't yet have the data they need. Secondly, it's a mindset change, and everyone needs time to adapt to this new way of thinking and working. There are 3 phases to OKR implementation. Phase 1 is the deployment coaching phase, during which the parameters that will govern the way the OKR framework is implemented are defined. No 2 organizations are the same. The OKR framework is a framework for that very reason, so it can be adapted to the needs of each organization. This is the phase where most of that adaptation takes place and is critical to the success of the implementation. Phase 2 is the training phase where the different levels and teams are trained in what the OKR framework is about and how to use it effectively. This training is customized based on the decisions taken in the deployment phase. Phase 3 is cycle coaching, where teams are coached through at least one cycle of implementing and using the OKR framework. This phase is used for teams to apply the learning from the training phase. Most organizations that choose to go it alone start at phase 3 and make mistakes that render their OKRs useless, time-consuming, and not achieving the needed outcomes. I have been called in several times to try to rescue a situation, but sometimes it's just easier to start again. Learning the wrong thing is worse than not learning at all. Ask any golfer that. And it's demoralizing for everyone concerned. I'd like to invite you to a free consultation with me to discuss how you might implement the OKR framework and what the direct benefits would be. Many organizations are using the OKR framework, and you should be too. Click the link below this video to set up a time in my diary. I look forward to talking to you. I hope that I have demonstrated to you the value that implementing the OKR framework can have to your organization, and I look forward to meeting with you to discuss implementing the OKR framework in your organization. Have a great day.